Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Inner Peace Forecast Conscious Leader. This is the Leo Mystic for the Inner Peace Forecast, the 3rd of June until the 9th of June. And we're using the astrology as a weekly guide for us conscious leaders. Now that we have arrived in this new earth, and with Venus and Taurus, this is about, just being grounded in it. And this is more feminine power. This is more attracting, not using the old ways of doing hard business and bringing in force, but instead coming from a place of abundance, coming from a place of gratitude, of love, of knowing, okay, what do we need to do for this new earth to be able to collectively grow as human beings, and not be in constant war, and this is my world and this is your world, and I think your world is wrong and I think my world is better, whatever. Let's have a look. Today we started off the day with the new moon. The new moon was at 12 p.m. So actually, like, the new moon, it was like midday, and like the minute after midday, the new moon kicks in. And it's a new moon in Gemini, and the new moon in Gemini is about trying to get to know. Trying to get to know what? Trying to get to know sextile Mars in Cancer. What we need to do in order to get home. I think Mars in Cancer is not comfortable there, but it is coming conjunct to North Node. So it is taking action towards coming home. And I think what the universe is doing here, is helping us in baby steps. Like Mars or the North Node is not in Pisces nor in Sagittarius, it's in Cancer. It starts with home. It's like, boom, okay, let's identify with this new world we're in. Let's identify with this new earth. Let's try and get a feel of it, the first feel. Uranus is in Taurus. It's reshaping still this new earth. And this is the first feel with this new earth. This is Mars in Cancer. Let's all act, or those people who understood that we need conscious leadership. Those people that understood that things have to go in a different way, that we can have belief, that we can have faith, that we are spiritual beings in a physical body. This is about identifying with it. This is about coming home to that truth. And so that new moon is helping. If you look at the astrology, Venus is in its power. Venus is still trying Pluto. And so we only got the sun and the moon in Gemini in the midst between Venus and Mars. And so, but it is having a good aspect to Mars, not to Venus. Venus is like, we know Venus is good. We know the new Earth is there, and we don't need to look at that. Let's just look at what you need to do right now first for yourself in order to come home. And I'll support you. And that's a negotiation between those two, between what we really want, what we really have in the moment, grounded, we know that, but versus what we need to do in order to come home. And so that the universe is giving us baby steps. It's the first step in order to be truly at home. Because I think we still got very hard aspects with Jupiter square over to Neptune, which is, a lot of, let's explore truth. Let's explore what the soul can do. And not, this is what I believe, this is what I've seen, and this is truth. And just, when that happened last, it was about oppressing our belief systems. Catholicism oppressed its belief systems on other people and enslaved people in that. This is not about that anymore. It is about checking the facts. It is about communicating. It's about initiating that dialogue with the other side. And we know those of you who are aware, who are awake, who are conscious leaders, who step into their leadership and take ownership of their feelings, their knowing, their conversation, and come from a place of love, they know. That's that new moon, semi-sextile over to Mars in Cancer, North Node. We know. You know that you're home. You know that you're at the new Earth. But obviously the others don't. That's why we still got that Jupiter square over to Neptune. And one day later than the new moon, that moon is going to come home in Cancer. And Mercury, like 3 or 4 hours later, when the moon arrives in Cancer, Mercury comes there too. And this is like support. Because trust me, you know, it's going to be a week where we're all going to be very emotional. We're all going to feel, it's all going to be like, are we safe here actually? Because Mars in Cancer is going to semi-square over to Venus in Taurus. And this is going to be like super cautious, overly cautious, being aware of that. Not taking risks. Let's just play safe, you know? And I think with that moon in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, Mars in Cancer, North Node in Cancer, it's a complete shift from that very mental energy towards really tapping into our feelings, really being emotional. So, and it's necessary. It is necessary to be vulnerable, because that's where on the other side is a lot of Capricornian energy, Saturn, Pluto, South Node. So it is the new world versus the old world, big time. And it's like, I'm telling you that you are going to have to go and do that. And it's where like, oh, but yes, but you know, very emotional, not very aggressive. And we need to learn how to deal with being okay with being vulnerable, being okay with not having to fight, not having to argue, and understand that it all will be okay, that you don't need to force your way through. And it's a lesson we need to learn. And when, like then, Wednesday, is it Wednesday or is it Thursday? Let me check real quick. Venus on Thursday is coming into Gemini. And so Venus was at 29 degrees, squaring over to the moon in Leo, which is like, hey, can you have some fun too in the process, you know, and be authentic, be truthful. But Venus is like 29 degrees, like, I don't know if I really want to go into Gemini because I feel fucking comfortable here in Taurus. I feel really, really comfortable. Do I really need to step out of my comfort zone and get to go out and talk and negotiate and like get to pick and like, I'm not going to be comfortable. Our feelings are going to be like, 1, 2, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. But it's also for you to go out and explore what you want, to communicate that. Communicate what you want. With Venus and Gemini, this is about, can you communicate what you want? And I don't think that we will get what we want by forcing. This is done. We will not, with all of this energy, we cannot get by forcing. Because Mercury is in Cancer. It's like, oh, very cautious. Moon is in Cancer, very cautious. Mars is in Cancer. I'm a wussy. Venus in Gemini is like, it's also very feminine communication. So that's what we need to learn. We need to learn how to deal with that new energy from a very receptive side, from a very emotional side. This is a shift from that patriarchy to a more, I mean, this is only the beginning, but to a more matriarchy, if you will. That's on the other side. That's the opposite. I think the middle is where we thrive. And but we need to learn the other side as well. We need to understand how women feel, how feminine power is. That's what we need to learn. That's what we have to understand. And being super vulnerable. It's exposing ourselves a little bit, thinking about how we are going to come across to the other side. And then on the 8th of June, this is going to be freaking weird, because we're going to have Sun in Gemini opposite Jupiter, and we're going to have that T-square again, which we had with Mercury, only now it's going to, like, we're not going to know what we believe, actually, because we're going to have these two sides of the new world. And it's like, I think this is where we might become confused. We need some confusion. This is not where you oppress your beliefs. This is understanding that you take into account the other side, where you know that everything is possible. That it's going to be like a Mercury retrograde kind of thing on the 8th of June. What is that, Saturday? Saturday's going to be a freaking weird energy. We got Jupiter. Let me tell you first that we will have such weird energy, but there's always a saving grace. And that saving grace is from Jupiter over to Moon in Leo. So this is very enthusiastic, we can stay optimistic in the midst of all of this. And we have Jupiter sesquiquadrate over to Uranus. And so that is weird, because that's going to be like, first and foremost, in the midst of the confusion, still have faith that the new Earth is here, because we might become confused in the midst of the dialogue that we're still in. Excuse me. Let me take a sip of water here. But it's also, there might be, with that, a lot of Cancerian energy, we might hold back a lot. And we might lose faith because of it, but also there might be suppression of energy that now can't come out. And, you know, that is like, it's like a cooking pressure, and it's very dangerous. Because Venus in Gemini might overcompensate and be too logical, be too, you know, just a lot of blah blah, but not a lot of action happening. And that's the danger, where you're actually communicating something different than what you actually deep down inside feel. So there's going to be like a discrepancy between those two. What you feel is not what you think. Be cautious for that. Now, and then we got Jupiter in conjunct the North Node. So this is, again, all of that, like, maybe not fully believing in the fact that conscious leadership is a new way, that the new Earth is actually truly here, that there's a new way of doing things. But what about that? We might still look back a little bit. It's like, we're here, and this actually, we have so much faith and so much belief, but now I don't know if that old way was actually, should I go back? Should I, you know, wasn't it better when we were like forcing and it's like, you know, pressing and all that? So, you know, excuse me for that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at this. I think I have to shut up. That's what I'm saying. That's what this is saying. But I think be aware that this is going to be a very emotional week. Be aware that take that new moon in Gemini to really set your intentions on what your image, what you really want to, how do you want this new Earth, how you want to look like in this new Earth. what your home, your ideal safe place here is on Earth. And I mean by that, as a conscious leader. As a conscious leader, how do you look like? What do you want to bring across? What message do you want to have? But before you know that, you need to know, how do I feel safe in this new place that I live in? How can we make it a better Earth now that we know that we're here? Okay, I have to go. See you for another Inner Peace forecast next week on Monday. And in the meantime, let me know what you all think. See you next week. Much love. Inner Peace.